All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about something huge: how to build a blueprint for survival in a changing world. I mean, we've all felt it, right? Those record breaking heat waves that turn our cities into ovens, or those sudden flash floods that just overwhelm our streets. This isn't just something you see on the news anymore, it's our new reality. So, that leads to the big question: how do we build a world that's actually ready for all of this? And the answer really lies in this idea: climate resilient infrastructure. You can think of it as our architectural playbook for the future. It's not just about building stronger walls, it's about building smarter. It's about designing everything from our homes to our cities to not only survive, but to actually bounce back from whatever the climate decides to throw at them. So, how do we actually do it? Well, we're going to look at three core strategies, and we'll start with the most direct one: the fortress. This is all about creating our first physical line of defense against the elements. The whole fortress strategy really rests on a few key pillars. We're talking about real, practical, physical defenses. So, floodproofing isn't just about sandbags, it's about raising critical infrastructure up high. Using heat resistant materials can be as simple as painting roofs white to reflect sunlight away. And disaster ready design? That means engineering buildings to sway with an earthquake, not just crumble under the pressure. So, let's put it side by side to see the difference. A traditional building, super vulnerable to flood damage. A fortress building, on the other hand, is elevated and sealed up tight. A regular building absorbs and traps heat like an oven, while a fortress uses materials to actively fight it. The big takeaway here is that this is a proactive upgrade. We're reinforcing our world for the climate we have now, not the one from 50 years ago. But look, pure defense isn't the whole story. That brings us to our second strategy: the smart shelter. Here, the focus shifts a little bit from just withstanding the climate to living comfortably and efficiently within it. Just think about trying to cool your home on a really scorching day. The old way, what we call active cooling, is just to blast the air conditioning, right? Which, as you know, uses a ton of energy. The smart shelter approach uses what's called passive cooling. It's all about intelligent design that keeps the building cool naturally. And trust me, your energy bill will thank you. And this quote just captures the whole philosophy perfectly. It's not about fighting a war against nature with more and more power. It's about being clever, using design to work with the natural environment to create a space that's actually comfortable. So, what's the secret sauce that makes this all work? Well, it pretty much boils down to two key things. First, you've got those passive cooling strategies. We're talking about things like strategically placed windows to create cross breezes, or overhangs that block that high summer sun but let the winter light in. And second, high-performance thermal insulation. This stuff basically turns your house into a giant thermos, keeping the heat out in the summer and locking it in during the winter. Okay, so we've covered individual buildings. Now let's zoom out to the entire city with our third strategy: the sponge city. This is where we start getting really ambitious and integrating nature right back into the heart of our urban areas. You gotta love this analogy because it's so perfect. Right now, most cities are basically concrete bathtubs. When it rains, the water just sits there with nowhere to go, and you get floods. The goal is to transform them into giant sponges that can naturally absorb and manage all that water. So, how does that actually work in practice? Okay, picture this. Heavy rain starts to fall. Instead of just running off concrete, it soaks into permeable surfaces, things like special pavements and lots of green spaces. Any water that isn't absorbed right away gets channeled through green corridors, think parks and plant-lined canals, which filter it along the way. The end result? A huge, huge reduction in urban flooding. This chart gives you a good idea of what that reimagined city looks like. It's really about changing the recipe of our urban landscape. We're not getting rid of concrete entirely, of course not, but we are being much smarter, strategically rebalancing it by replacing big chunks with those two crucial elements: permeable surfaces that absorb water and green corridors that manage it. So there we have it, our three strategies: the fortress, the smart shelter, and the sponge city. Now let's bring it all together and see what our resilient future looks like when we combine them. And this is the payoff. This is why this is so important. When you combine these strategies, the impact isn't just added, it multiplies. That flood damage bar plummets because you have fortress buildings that are sealed and a sponge city absorbing all the extra water. The urban heat bar goes way down thanks to the smart shelter's passive cooling and the cooling effect from all those new green corridors. It's not one little fix, it's a complete integrated defense system. And if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this: there's no single silver bullet. True climate resilience isn't one giant expensive project. It's a system of smart, interconnected choices, from the materials we put in our walls to the parks we design in our cities.
So that leaves us with one final thought. Just look around your own neighborhood, your street, your local park, your town hall. What's one thing you can see that could be made more resilient? Because that's where the blueprint really starts. Thanks for tuning in.